Hey everyone, welcome back to my 30-day skull drawing challenge video. So we are actually up to week 3 or day 21. So I'm just going to skip through these pages in the background very quickly to get to that point. So just before we get to day 21, make sure that you subscribe, hit like, and of course turn notifications on for future content so you can stay up to date with my progress on this challenge throughout. Of course, you can also check me out on social media. I'll put a link to my pages in the description box below. And I will post some of these images on there. And you can see some of my other doodles there as well. So we're up to day 10 in the background. Just skipping through these a little bit quicker. I do have individual videos on these already. So make sure you check those out. Again, I'll put links in the description box below. But here we are, day 14, day 15. So this is our starting point for this third week. So weeks 2 to 3. For those of you who've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I went back to basics and I started working on simplifying the skull like this. Sometimes I draw some planes on them like this, which might help with lighting, and occasionally doing a little bit of detail like these teeth. Honestly, I feel like I've improved a lot since doing these basics. So here, for example, I've got a better understanding of the shapes, the planes. I do have a lot of difficulty with the jaw. So I know it's not too exciting to look at compared to detail drawings, but a lot of my focus has been on the structure again. You can see this is day 15 and 16. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep up to doing 2 pages a day. It was just too difficult. But for now, 1 page a day is hopefully enough to improve. The reason I picked some teeth here, I just felt like drawing them at the time, but also I think they're one of the most difficult features to get right and to fit in right purely and get the right number of teeth in. So day 17, before I started this, I found the front angle the only one that I could somewhat draw without reference, whereas now I'm finding the front angle to be difficult in comparison with like the 3/4 view. I actually think that my 3/4 view is progressing the most and looks better than the others. Side view is a bit more simple, but sometimes the proportion of the skull I do think is a little bit off with my drawings. You probably can't read my messy writing, but this was just a basic skull. It didn't take too long, and I thought it could do with just being a little bit taller or at least a little bit slimmer. So I drew it again here. This started the same, very basic, without any teeth or anything. You'll notice also I have started just adding in these little lines to mark the teeth. Hopefully that will help me on the next step. So for example here, I started adding the teeth in. This was only meant to be quite rough, because I do think it's a difficult part to get right, but I actually thought it looked pretty cool. And I also did a bit of shadow mapping or drawing on where the shadow should be, and I think it made quite a big difference. I quite like that one. Day 18, only 3 drawings on this one, a side view and 2 3/4 views, all of which I thought were quite good. You will notice on some of my drawings the jaws, I'm playing around a little bit with how far it juts forward, this sort of muzzle teeth area. How far back the jaw comes. So not all of them are perfect. Well, none of them are perfect, but you know what I mean. And again, you can see I'm marking in the lines for where the teeth will be. And in my head, I've been sort of working out how to fit, well, however many teeth there are. 8 on top on one side, 8 on the other, 32 in total, I should have said. But obviously, from certain angles, you're not going to see them all. And it's really more about the perspective, like on this, where the teeth are coming further back. That it gets quite tricky fitting them all in. But maybe I'm being a little bit too accurate there, because I don't think it would matter, especially for a quick sketch like these. So day 19, again, you can see that I've been adding teeth in. I'm only doing it roughly. They don't look great. This one, the skull didn't look too bad until I added the teeth, and it threw it all off a little bit. They don't look very good. So this goes back to me saying that I struggle with that. Without the teeth, I think the 3/4 view is getting there now. These are using reference though. As mentioned in my other videos, I have my Proco skull to hand, which is quite good for the teeth. But I've actually been using that 3D skull online that I mentioned last week. On the website Sketchfab, I think that's a really good tool to have, so I'll put a link to that in the description box below. So I'm literally just loading up this skull on Sketchfab and then dragging the skull to a certain angle randomly and just drawing it. Day 20. First thing to point out is this one is awful. Now the reason this looks so off is because, as you can see from my simplified drawing here, I was drawing from below. So I turned this 3D skull so that I could see below it, and I tried to draw that angle, but I just didn't get the proportions or the perspective right. So if you sort of cover that, it looks like it's almost right, but this bit here is just off for that angle. So it failed pretty miserably, but I can see where I went wrong, so hopefully that's a good sign. Another 3/4 here, jaw possibly a little bit small, I'm undecided, but it's not bad. If I could draw like that without reference, I will be very happy. This one I thought was pretty good. I've always said that drawing a skull from the front, but just ever so slightly to the side, is really difficult compared to 3/4 or fully to the side. So I really like this. Again, I started blocking the teeth in. This side view, not my best one. Something looks a little bit off with the skull shape here. It's a little bit too rounded for a side view in comparison with one here. It's a little bit longer. And last of all, day 21, of which I just finished. So let me get this into the center of the shot. Nothing fancy to look at, but this is where I am up to. I quite like this front view actually. Again, it's not perfect, but yeah, I really like the way that one turned out. Maybe the nose cavity could have been a little bit smaller. I am finding though, the more skulls that I draw, the more the proportions do vary a little bit. And whilst on this skull here from the Proco website is based on the Andrew Loomis method and therefore quite a good one to use, I am finding it doesn't really matter too much about if you go a little bit too big or small with like the nose, for example. And it's a good way to play around with the features. So a really basic side view. I can see here I am starting to rely less on my reference now. Even when I load it up, I start drawing this. I'm still laying in some basic lines, which I don't mind doing, to be honest. It just helps me know, like, for example, the eyes being at the halfway point and things like that. But yeah, I'm definitely finding that I'm looking at my reference less. Hopefully that's a good sign. These 3/4 ones, again, working a little bit more with the planes and where the teeth are going to go. Something maybe a little bit off with the mouth on this one, but I think it's still very good. This one here, I really liked. The proportions, I just thought were really good. I always think it's a strange concept not being able to see this jawbone here from this angle, so it looks quite empty and quite thin. But that is the way it would look. For example, this isn't the one I used for reference, but you can see the jaw on both sides. One side from the side, but from a 3/4 angle, you're still only seeing this side until you get past this stage here, it comes into play. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, that's where I'm up to, guys. Moving forward, I want to keep doing these simplified ones, and if I could draw like this without reference, I would be very happy. But I do need to start working on the details, especially of the teeth, and blocking these out a little bit more. We've got 9 days to go until I'm up to the 30-day point. I think I've improved a lot already. It is getting really difficult to stick to every day without fail when you are short on time though. But I'd be interested to know if any of you guys have tried anything like this and how your results were. I'm really excited to compare my end result compared to my initial video where I tried to draw these without reference. So make sure you go back and check that video out and see what you think. And of course, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button and turn notifications on so that you get notified when I upload my final video for this challenge. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.